My M29 girlfriend, F24, and I are having an abortion. How much did I mess up? My partner and I had unprotected sex, and 2 days ago, we got a positive pregnancy test. We have discussed before how we weren't ready, but she was very upset with how I reacted. Here's how I reacted. When she told me and we got in the car, I immediately started talking about abortion options. I reassured her that we would get through this together. She did not like my reaction, as she stated she didn't really get time to process the whole being pregnant thing, and especially mad that the abortion was the thing I jumped to instead of being happy. I actually was happy, and we both want kids in our lives, but I thought we were on the same page in regards to this, and that's why I jumped to that topic. I thought that we agreed that we weren't ready now in this moment. She didn't like my reaction, and this is a first for both of us. Her background is also Christian, and she doesn't like this decision, but we have decided to go through with it. We are both feeling very sad at the moment. She's expressed her feelings changed for me, and that she feels numb right now. She got drunk and expressed so much negative emotions towards me. I don't necessarily blame her. I can't help but feel like the biggest asshole. I've never felt like this. I feel like I've ruined her life. I feel like I've shifted her perspective on life. She thinks I don't want to take her serious because of this. I expressed to her that I do, but I don't think we are ready for kids right now. We're feeling really depressed, and she said after the pill procedure, she wants nothing to do with me. I'm not sure what to do with this post. I really want to be here for her, but I don't know what to say or do other than be here and express to her how I feel. She doesn't like talking much about things and repeating topics. Feel free to leave comments and concerns and questions with especially relatable experiences. Dude, why are you, as a nearly 30-year-old man, willingly having unprotected sex with someone if you're not ready for a kid? It is so easy to wear a condom and keep one in your wallet or bedside table at all times. It sounds like the ship of your relationship has already sailed or sunk, depending on how you think about it. Next time a big deal situation like this happens, instead of expressing how you feel, you should ask her how she feels and listen to her. That should have been your first reaction, not telling her what to do. As the saying goes, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so try listening twice as much as you talk. You're not having an abortion, she is. And if you were both not ready for a baby, you really shouldn't be having unprotected sex. That's like playing with fire and being surprised when you get burned. What did you think would happen? A woman going through an abortion is a highly emotional thing. Some people aren't ready for a baby until the very second they find out they are having one. It is possible that she was excited for this. Maybe her feelings changed. It happens. I'm not sure I could look at a guy the same if he expected me to abort our child. That dark cloud would hang over the relationship indefinitely. If you don't want a child, it is your responsibility to use condoms every time you have sex or get a vasectomy. You should have talked about whether you want to have a future together before the unprotected sex. It's one thing if birth control fails. It's another to actively engage like you did. She is Christian. Not enough to prevent sex before marriage, of course, but you should have known that she wouldn't like the idea of jumping straight to an abortion. And she got drunk while pregnant. You sound incompatible, and you both need to grow up. Getting pregnant and having kids in your 20s is a normal thing people do. You seem to want to act like a teenager despite pushing 30. Why would you have unprotected sex if you're not ready for a child? Condoms, condoms, condoms. That being said, deep down, if she wanted to keep the child, would this be something you'd truly be okay with? You need to express, as you say, that you do want to have kids with her. However, from what you wrote, I don't know if that's true. She's clearly struggling with this, and makes sense with her background. I don't know if it's fixable at this point, but take it as a lesson to use protection. It's so frustrating when people have unprotected sex, and they know pregnancy could be an outcome. It's not easy for women to deal with abortions. I've seen this same situation happen to my friend, and it ruined their relationship. My 39F boyfriend, 40 male, sent me a hateful text. My 39F boyfriend, 40 male, sent me a hateful text. I'm not sure how to respond. We live together and own a home together and have 2 kids together. Here it is, without kids' names. I've been unable to get back to sleep for an hour because of your snoring and farting. Please take whatever steps to lose weight immediately. In becoming less attracted to you and want to do this less, and less as you get bigger, it's embarrassing for our 4-year-old daughter and to me. How will anyone respect us when I show up with a woman 3x my weight? How am I supposed to network into a better level of job/class when we show up, and all they can see is how silly and not healthy or prepared for anything we look. I'm disgusted with you making excuses for yourself and my oldest child, 13, from previous relationship to live in filth and be lazy. Please start healthier habits. I'm obviously hurt by his words, but besides hurting my feelings, I don't understand the point. We have been together for 5 years. I've been dieting and losing weight. It's been hard losing weight from having children. My youngest is only 2, but he even told me last week he was proud of my efforts. Oh girl, he does not like you. If a man does not care in the least about saying mean, hurtful things to you, he does not like you, and nothing you do can change that. Speaking of setting an example for your daughter, do you want her to accept this kind of treatment from her future spouse? Call his bluff. Tell him you don't want a partner who sends such a hateful text. End of story. I mean, he also sucked 10 months ago. It might be time to start planning your escape. I've been unable to get back to sleep for an hour because of your snoring and farting. I hate this dude. Edit. Respond with please go fuck yourself. Nope, he hates you, I am very sorry to say. No man who loved his woman could say something so cruel. Older daughter 15F doesn't love me 37M anymore. Hey there. Posting this here for additional perspective on a more active sub. I'm a YOWE dad for the last 4 years or so. I've always hated not getting as much time, but my ex made more money and has a remote job, so it made sense for her to be the primary physical custodian since she wanted to move. Also, I super fell apart for like 2 years after the divorce. So I commute 150 miles each way every other week to pick up my girls as part of our custody agreement. I don't complain, I just try to make the most of my time. So that's the context. Here's the thing I am looking for. I don't know, maybe advice. About 18 months ago, my oldest was asking about doing high school with me instead of mom, and we were on our way to changing the custody agreement and getting her set up for school in my state. Unfortunately, I lost my job right before it happened, and it didn't make sense to subject her to the insecurity I was going to experience while I got a new one and got a new living situation. Roommate was on his way to losing the house before I moved in. When I wasn't able to pay full rent for a couple months, foreclosure became certain. Nonetheless, I kept up my visits and got a better living situation, eventually marrying my wonderful wife. So visits have been at our shared home since winter of last year. During spring of last year, while I was planning her quince, my oldest started begging off from coming for visits with me. Said she has a lot of homework and extracurriculars, and fair enough, she does. After the quince though, I get a call and visit from CPS. My oldest had apparently claimed that she wasn't allowed to lock her door at my place, that I gave inappropriate physical affection, and that she woke up with bodily fluids that were not her own on her shorts while staying with me. Hopefully it goes without saying that the first and last things are not true, even from a difference of perspective. We did sit down and talk though, and while it was embarrassing, I made it clear that any affection she feels is inappropriate is of course inappropriate regardless of my intention, because a dad's love shouldn't be expressed in a way that makes her uncomfortable. So less snuggling, hugging, hand-holding, etc. Sucks that she feels like I was over-affectionate, but I've always raised her to know she is the queen of her own body, so no arguments from me. That said, the other stuff was super serious. I, her mom, CPS, and kiddo's therapist all sat down and talked about it over various talks for about 2 months. It was clear to all parties involved that I did not do those disgusting things, and my daughter eventually recanted to her mom and therapist. CPS closed the case after our meeting, and forensic interviews with both my daughters confirmed these were false allegations. Oldest daughter continued not visiting, now refusing to answer our formerly daily texts or calls. I gave her space after making it clear that she is not in trouble with me and always had the option of reconciliation. After a couple more months of giving space with occasional check-ins by me, I was handed a 3-page letter by my oldest. She called me a worthless sperm donor, accused me of being creepy to her and her school friends, accused me of abuse, and demanded we go no contact. Now I was kind of a not super traditional dad. I don't lie about anything but Santa to my kids. I'm more crass in humor than my ex or her family, and I don't believe in following social norms that don't make sense to me just to fit in. That said, I have had a loud is not allowed rule when talking to my kids since I became a dad, and all physical punishment was 100% off the table their whole lives. It's been several months now. My ex and my kids' therapist both know that outside of the possibility of some of the more minor things being remembered in a worse light than intended, Which is valid. I don't live inside my kid's head, so maybe I came off different than intended. Like most of the letter was straight up not true. Not like shades of gray, but just not true. I still pick up my younger daughter on schedule, and my ex has my back on me being a good dad. But my oldest kid still won't talk to me, be in the room with me, nothing. She's 15, and in a couple years she's going to college. This is my Christmas year with her. I feel like we are missing out on some super important time that we're never going to get back, and I'm afraid if she leaves for college before we reconcile, I will basically never see her again. Beside being patient and always leaving the light on for her, so to speak, what actions can I take to try and fix things? I'll try and answer any questions that come up. You really need to edit your post to add the fact that you remarried. The presence of a step-parent and/or step-siblings is the #1 reason why children of divorced parents do not want to exercise visitation with their non-custodial parent. Info: what did you mean by this? Now, I was kind of a not super traditional dad. I don't lie about anything but Santa to my kids. I'm more crass in humor than my ex or her family, and I don't believe in following social norms that don't make sense to me just to fit in. Did you ever get to the bottom of why exactly she made such allegations? I feel as though that's probably important to start with. You sound far too forgiving of such serious allegations, gentle parenting or not. She should know that accusations like that, if untrue, should have consequences. Your kid won't respect you if she doesn't face any consequences for something as serious as that. We're talking allegations that could have ruined your life. It sounds like your daughter believes you, or someone in your home, is inappropriate, and it makes her uncomfortable. I know you said you didn't do the things she has said, and that your ex agrees with you, and CPS closed the case. You say your daughter recanted, but it seems like she only recanted due to outside pressure, not because she truly feels comfortable with you. Going no contact is extreme. There is something about going to your home that makes her feel so unsafe that she would make a false report to CPS in order to avoid it. I would be focused on that instead of framing it as her deciding to stop loving you. Something traumatic has happened to her, and she's avoiding you and your home for a reason. When I was younger, my dad also watched a lot of inappropriate movies and video games with my brother and I. To be honest with you, I still get a little weirded out by it, and I'm in my 30s. Our relationship was pretty strained in my early 20s, but has improved. I think group therapy would be beneficial. There's a lot going on but what I'm wondering is why, when you lost your job and your home, did you not choose that time to move 150 miles closer to your daughters? You were handed the opportunity on a plate. Your older daughter couldn't live with you because you were homeless, so why didn't you go live nearer her? What, or I'm guessing who, anchored you where you were when you could have so easily taken that opportunity to be closer, and a more involved dad who attended school functions and lived in the same area rather than a 2 times a month visitor? My 24F boyfriend, 26M, said he was falling out of love. Now he proposed. I don't know what to do. About a month ago, I 24F came home from work early. Me and my boyfriend, 26M, lived together. He was in his room talking to a friend of his on the phone, and because our walls are paper thin, I overheard a part of their conversation. Under any other circumstance, I wouldn't have eavesdropped, but you'll see why I made an exception. I caught him talking about how he was falling out of love, how our relationship was exhausting, and how he felt like he couldn't do anything around me, that he has to hide everything. Not only is it heartbreaking to hear that your significant other wants to break up, that last part is alarming to me for further reason. I'm really not a prude, and I don't tell other people what they can and can't say. The only thing I don't want around me is misogyny. I've made this clear to my boyfriend when we started dating about a year and a half ago, and he seemed completely on the same page. The reason I don't want a misogynist as a partner is mainly for safety. I believe it's the first red flag that leads to abuse, and I do not want a partner who can't see me as a person, doesn't respect me, or secretly thinks of me as lesser than himself. I may just be reading too much into this, but I'm afraid I might have been dating a person who isn't who they claim to be. Even if it isn't misogyny, the fact that my boyfriend claimed he can't do anything around me makes me think that he has some behaviors tucked away that are going to be a rude awakening later on in life, once it's much harder to get away after we're married, for example. To get back to the point, my boyfriend told his friend that he would probably break up with me soonish. I pretended I didn't hear anything, because I didn't know how to process all of what I'd just heard. I gave my boyfriend 2 weeks to spring the breakup on me. It never happened, but because of what I overheard in his conversation, I paid close attention to his behavior and found some things my rose-colored glasses apparently made me overlook. I never noticed how much he referred to women as bitches, how quickly he got angry and would sour the mood when he lost in whatever video games he's playing, and how quickly that kind of frustration can lead him to become mean towards me. After 2 weeks, I figured I should take initiative and end our relationship, since he apparently wasn't happy, and I have no plans on sleeping in the same bed as someone who doesn't love me anymore. The only reason I waited that long was because of a trip we had planned for months in advance. I figured that it would either rekindle our relationship or that he would take the opportunity and break up, but either way there was some money and a lot of time and effort, most on his part, involved that I didn't want to throw away with a breakup, so I wanted to wait until afterwards. Turns out, the reason this trip was planned was because my boyfriend wanted to propose to me. And he did. I admit, I cried, but in the back of my mind was still that conversation I overheard. I said yes not to ruin the moment, but now that the ring is on my finger, I don't know if I actually want to go through with it. More, I'm confused how quickly my boyfriend can go from wanting to break up to proposing. It's driving me insane, and I've become desperate, as may be obvious since I'm asking a bunch of strangers on the internet for help. Does anyone have any advice? I don't know what to do or what to think, and it's keeping me up at night. Too long did not read. My 24F boyfriend, 26M, told a friend he was falling out of love and wanted to break up with me. Then he proposed shortly after. Break off the engagement and move on. You literally just listed off all the reasons as to why it's not a good idea to stay with him, and here you are with a ring on your finger. Grow a spine, stop waiting for him to punch you in the face for you to make a move. So he's masking. He is pretending to be the person you want him to be. Then after the wedding, the mask starts to slip. He gets you pregnant, and the mask comes off. You're literally stuck with him forever. You are quite lucky you found this information now. But be careful. When you tell do it in a public place. Have all your stuff that matters out and safe with someone else. When you go to retrieve your things, have someone with you. Better yet, have loads of someone's. Be safe. Up to team. I said yes not to ruin the moment. Girl, what on earth? I am so glad I am out of my 20s. What is compelling you to even consider staying? Whether you ultimately stay or go, it's time for a cards on the table talk about what you heard. You both need to find out whether this is something you can or want to work on repairing together, or if you are both better off calling it quits. Communication isn't just about having a healthy relationship. It can be just as important in managing a civil breakup, and you two have been letting it slide for too long already.